Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are good. So in this video we'll be talking about some NUST entry test past paper questions from the mathematics section, particularly from the 12th chapter, that is applications of trigonometry. So before talking about some past paper questions, we will be talking about some course content, some things which we need to understand about this chapter. So let's have a quick overview. Okay, all right. So this is what we need to understand. All right, now when we talk about applications of trigonometry, trigonometry is used in multiple things. For example, if you have some questions about angle of depression, angle of elevation, it is used in triangles, in area of triangles, the relationship of circle and triangle, and in many places. But in the overview, I won't be talking about each and every aspect. I'll just talk about the important ones and I'll explain the rest of the concepts during the questions, right? Okay. So let's just talk about the very first thing. Okay. That is Circum Circle. Once we are done with this, I'll show you the shapes and then things would become very clear. The circle passing through the vertices of a triangle is called a circumcircle. Just focus on the first line. The circle passing through the vertices of a triangle is called a circumcircle. Then encircle. The circle drawn inside a triangle touching its three sides is called encircle. And what is excircle? A circle which touches one side of the triangle externally and the other two produced sides is called an excircle or e-circle or ascribed circle. So we have three types of circles. The first one is circumcircle. The circle passing through the vertices of a triangle is called a circumcircle. Then encircle is basically inside the triangle, and excircle is the circle which touches one side of the triangle externally, and the other two produced sides is called an excircle. Now I am going to shift to another PDF just so we are able to understand this concept properly. All right, okay, so I have shared the screen again. Okay, now what is happening here? This is the circumcircle. These are the vertices of your triangle P, Q, and R, and your circle is touching the vertices, right? So this is your circumcircle. Then if I talk about encircle, this circle is made inside your triangle. That is why it is called encircle. And then we have excircle. So we have three circles. A, B, C is a triangle. It has three sides. So we have three circles. And all of them are excircles because this circle is basically touching one of the outer sides of the triangle. All right. So I hope this concept is clear. This one is the circumcircle. The circle is outside and the triangle is inside. Then in encircle, your circle is being made inside the triangle. And in excircle, your circle can be made by touching any one of the three sides of the triangle. Okay. All right. So this is what we need to understand. Okay. So let's talk about the previous PDF again. All right. Okay. I've shared the screen again. I hope you guys are able to see it. All right. Okay. So now we are clear about circumcircle, encircle, and excircle. The next thing is circumcenter. The center of Circum Circle is called Circumcenter, fair enough. It is the point of intersection of right bisectors of the sides of the triangle. So imagine you have a triangle and a circle is being made, and your circle is touching the three vertices of your triangle. The center of that circle would be the circumcenter, and it would basically be at the point of intersection where the three right bisectors of the triangle would be meeting. Simple, okay? And circumradius is basically the radius of that circle, and we have all these formulas in order to find the circumradius. So this is the most important thing which you need to memorize. So it is ABC. ABC are the three sides of the triangle, their lengths divided by 4 multiplied by the area of the triangle. Then another formula could be side A divided by 2 into sine A. Then this is B divided by 2 into sine B, and then C divided by 2 into sine C. Then in circle, the radius is calculated this way. So you do R equals the area of the triangle divided by S. What is S? S is sum of all the sides divided by 2. Then here the radius is basically calculated this way. Now you need to understand this definition. The radii, because we have multiple circles, of x circles opposite to the vertex A, B, and C are denoted by R1, R2, and R3. Now, the image which we were just discussing had three circles for x circle. So, these formulas would be used accordingly. But the most important formulas are basically these ones. Okay, so you'll see how to use them once we talk about the question specifically. So, just don't worry about it. All right, let's get started with the questions now. And do not worry if you were not able to understand anything. Obviously, whenever in the questions it would be required, I'll scroll up, I'll explain the concepts. If you are not able to understand anything, just ask me. By now, I assume that 30 to 40% content would be clear, but not everything. Okay, I'm your teacher. I do understand that it is not this easy. You need to talk about some questions, and only then things get better. So just don't worry about it. All right. So let's say if you were not able to understand anything, it's completely fine. This is your first question, and let's get started with this one. Okay. So this is the very first question from the 12th chapter, that is applications of trigonometry, and it says the measure of the angle of depression of an airport as observed by a pilot while flying at a height of 3000 meter is 30 degrees. Okay. The keywords are angle of depression observed by a pilot while flying at a height of 3000 meters is 30 degrees. Okay, so imagine that this is your plane. For example, this is your plane. Let me make it again. This is your plane, and this is the airport. So this would be the line. And now it says angle of depression. So angle of depression is basically going to be this angle right here. That is 30 degrees. Okay, angle of depression is this one. And we know that angle of depression is same as the angle of elevation. So this would also be 30 degrees. Okay. The height of the plane is 3000 meter. So if I make a straight line, it would be 3000 meters high. And this is your right angle triangle. All right. What do you need to find? How far is the plane from a point direct over the airport? Now, this question is easy. The only problem is that when students read this line, how far is the plane from a point direct over the airport, they think they are supposed to find this distance, which is not right. You're not supposed to find this distance. Let me just get rid of this now. Okay. You need to find how far is the plane from a point direct over the airport. So this is your plane right here. And this length is what you need to find, okay? The horizontal length. Why? Because it says how far is the plane from a point direct over the airport, okay? So this is the point, and then this is where the plane is right now. It is 3000 meters higher from this point. So you need to find this x. Okay, so we have the perpendicular side. You need to find the base side. So what is the formula? We use tan theta equals through proper brushing. So perpendicular over base. Base needs to be calculated. So it would become perpendicular side, that is 3000 divided by tan 30. Now guys, you are solving this question without calculator. Calculator is not allowed in your exam. So how would you solve this? In the previous video, I shared a table where you will be talking about the basic angles and their values. So you need to memorize the value of tan 30, okay? And then the base is basically going to be 3000 divided by tan 30, and tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So it would give you 3000 multiplied by root 3. So the answer is going to be B in this case. Okay, so for such questions, I will again share the PDF, or you can just find it easily. You just need to memorize the values of cos, sine, and tan for some specific angles, because in entry test, specifically in case of NUST, calculators would not be allowed. So you would be doing all of this without calculator, and that is only possible when you can memorize all of this. All right. So this would be the first question. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Okay, the next question is easy. It says in a triangle ABC, side A is 11 units long, B is 9 units long, and C is 19 units long. Which angle is the smallest? Now we know that there is a relationship between the angle and the side of the triangle. So if you have a bigger side, it means that the angle opposite to it would be bigger. So if the smallest side is B, then the smallest angle would be beta. So the answer is going to be beta in this case. Okay, that is B. All right, okay. Let's talk about the next question. Find the distance of a man from the foot of a 200-meter high tower if the angle of elevation of its top as observed by the man is 60 degrees. Okay, so there is a man right here, and we need to find the distance of the man from a tower. Let's say this tower that is 200 meters high if the angle of elevation of its top as observed by the man is 60 degrees. So they are talking about the angle of elevation. This is the angle of elevation, and it is 60 degrees. So you need to find out this distance x. So what is this? This is a right angle triangle. We can use sine, cos, tan. You need to find the base. Perpendicular side is given. So again, tan would be used. Tan 60 is equal to, through proper brushing, so perpendicular side divided by base, and x is equal to 200 divided by tan 60. Now please pay attention to this. You would be solving this question without calculator. Okay, I won't expect, and the examiner won't expect, that you guys are calculators and you can do it easily. No, that is why MCQs are given. You need to be logical while solving these questions. Now the value of tan 60 is to be memorized. Okay, again and again I'm telling you, there's a table which I shared in the previous video. You can just check that out, and there you need to memorize the values of sine, cos, tan at 0, 30, 45, 60, 90, just so you're able to solve these questions. And that table is specifically designed from the NET point of view. So x is going to be 200 divided by tan 60 is root 3. Now, how do you solve this? Now you know that root 3 is something greater than 1 but less than 2. So obviously B cannot be the answer and C cannot be the answer, because if you have 200 in the numerator and you are dividing by something that is greater than 1, then you won't get a number greater than your numerator, right? So it won't be B or C. Okay, now you know that it cannot be 150 because this root 3 would be greater than 1.5. So when it is greater than 1.5, it would be less than 150, and the only option you are left with is A, 115.47. I repeat, this question has to be done without calculator, so you need to be logical while solving these questions. Everything is clear, only the calculation part is complicated. The value of tan 60 is something which you need to memorize, that is root 3. I'm telling you, root 3 is something greater than 1, so B and C are cancelled. It is greater than 1.5 as well. How do you know? You need to be logical, because root 4 is 2, so if it is root 3, so it would be something between 1.5 and 2, right? So when you will divide that value by 200, it would give you something less than 150, and the only option you're left with is option A. So that is why A is the answer. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Right, now sine square theta by 2 is what? So we know that sine theta by 2 is basically root 1 minus cos theta by 2. This is something which you need to memorize, because obviously in the NET exam, data booklet, formula sheet, and such things would not be given, right? So in that case, obviously, you need to know one thing, that some questions and some identities are to be memorized, unlike in the Cambridge system. So for finding the value of this, you can square both sides, and upon squaring, this and this would be cancelled, and B is going to be the answer. All right, okay. Let's talk about the next question. Here it is. It says, in a right angled triangle ABC with right angle at B, which one is true? Now you have a right angle triangle and the right angle is at B. So ABC are just your basic Pythagoras theorem. So this is your triangle. Let's say this angle is A, this is B, and this is C. So the opposite side would be B, this is C, and this is A. And as per the Pythagoras theorem, what do we know? Some of the smaller sides, A square plus C square, would basically equal to the square of the largest side. So this is option C. So this is the basic Pythagoras theorem that you need to know, and it is used a lot of time. So that is why C is going to be the answer. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Okay, now it says which one is true. Now all of these options have cos, so you need to think about the cos rule, which we use for finding the angle or any side, and then you're able to solve it. So we know, let's say if the side is A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared, like the other two sides, minus 2 multiplied by BC, like these are the sides, not the angles, and then cos of alpha. So alpha is the angle that is opposite to side A. This is the cosine rule that you are supposed to memorize. And do not worry, I know I'm continuously telling you that you need to memorize things, although I'm not the types of teacher. I'm not that type of a teacher, but the only issue is that in NET, unlike in the Cambridge system, calculators would not be allowed. You would be solving MCQs, and data booklet would not be given. So you'll have to memorize a few things, right? And so this option matches D, so D would be the answer for this question. Okay, let's talk about the next question then. Okay, so this is the seventh question. It is very interesting. Let's see how to solve it. The measure of the angle of elevation of a kite is 30 degrees. The string of the kite is 250 meters long. If the say in the string is 5 meters, find the height of the kite. So imagine that you have a kite and the angle of elevation of a kite is 30 degrees. So this is the point where the kite string is, and the angle of elevation is 30 degrees. So this would be the angle, and you need to find the height. So you need to find this thing basically. This angle is going to be 90 degrees, and the string of the kite is 250 meters long, but they say in the string, that means in general the string is 250 meters long, but then some part is used for can some part of the string is used to connect it with the kite, and then some part is wrapped around the hand as well. So the length that is being showed here would not be 250, it would be 250 minus 5, and you need to find this x. So I am going to explain this again, don't worry. This is your kite. This is the string of kite that originally is 250 meters long, but the say in the string is 5 meters. Now the string is 250 meters long, but some part of the string is used to connect it with the kite by tying it up, and then some part of the string is in hand as well. So that is where 5 meters would be lost. So this hypotenuse length is basically going to be 245 and not 250, and the angle of elevation is 30. So this is the angle of elevation, and you need to find the height of the string. So what do we have? We have the hypotenuse side, and you need to find the perpendicular side. So for this we use sine 30 is equal to perpendicular over the hypotenuse side. So it would become sine 30 equals perpendicular, that is 2, that is x, which you need to find, and you need to divide it by the hypotenuse side, that is 245. Okay, now you have 245 and it is multiplied by sine 30. Now again, how do you know the value of sine 30 when calculator is not allowed? Obviously you know the value, because I am telling you again and again, there's a table which I shared in the previous video. So using that, you know what would be the value of sine 30. Okay, so 245 multiplied by sine 30, which is 1 by 2. So it is going to be the height, and the half of 245 is 122.5 meters. So this would be the height. So the answer is going to be D in this case. Okay. So these questions are simple. They're a bit logical. You need to use your concepts and you would be able to solve all of them, inshallah. Okay, let's talk about the next question. Okay, now it says, which one is known as Hero's formula? Now, some students must have read it as Heron's formula. It is fine. This formula is basically used to find the area of the triangle, and it is under the root s, s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. This is going to give you the area of the triangle, where s is a plus b plus c divided by 2. So the answer is going to be C in this case. This is your Hero's formula, and you need to understand that it gives you area. So this time around the question was of this type, but it could be that you have the values of a, b and c, and you are to find the area. So now you know you need to find s first, and once you have s, you'll plug it in this formula, and that would give you the area of the triangle. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the next question. Now it says, in a triangle, A is 17, B is 19, C is 15, the largest angle is. So the previous question was about the smallest angle, and there I told you we were referring to the smallest side. Now it is about the largest angle, so I'll be referring to the largest side, that is 19, and it is side B. So the angle opposite to this largest side would be beta. So B is going to be the answer. Always remember, in triangles we have an angle side relationship. Larger the side, larger would be the angle. So that is how I knew that beta would be the angle, right? Let's talk about the next question. Okay. If an isosceles triangle has a vertical angle of 120 degrees and a base of 100 centimeters long, then altitude will be. This is your isosceles triangle, and this vertical angle is 120, and this base is 100 centimeters long. You need to find the altitude. So for this, we need to use this concept. If I bisect this angle, this side would also be bisected, and if the side is bisected, that would be a perpendicular bisector, and the angle would be 90 degrees. So now, out of this big orange triangle, I can take out one half of it. The angle would be 90 degrees. Since it bisected, the side would become 50. Since the angle was bisected, it would become 60. Now you are interested in finding out this altitude, this height. So we have the perpendicular side, and you need to find the base. So you'll do that by tan 60 equals perpendicular over base. So it would be tan 60 equals 50 divided by x, and x is going to be 50 divided by tan 60, and through that table I know the value of tan 60 is root 3. So you can see time and again we're using similar angles. Either the angle is 30, 60. So again and again we're using the same thing, and once you practice all the questions, these things would get to your fingertips and you would be able to solve it. So the answer is going to be D in this case. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the next question. This is an important one, and it is very, very interesting. The angle of elevation of the top of a tower from a point is 30 degrees if advancing 150 meters towards the foot of the tower, the angle increases to 60 degrees. What is the height of the tower? Okay. The angle of elevation of the top of a tower from a point is 30 degrees. So this is the point, initial point, and this is your tower. This is the height. So this angle, let's talk about it as the height now. So this is the highest point, and this angle, let me just fix this first because the diagrams are important. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to ask me. This is your right. Okay. Angle of elevation is 30 degrees. Okay, this angle is 30 degrees. And yes, that is what it is. If advancing 150 meters towards the foot of the tower. So now this is 150 meters. And now if you find the angle, it would be 60 degrees. You need to find the height. Okay, this is what you know. Initially, from a point, the angle of elevation was 30 degrees. Then when you moved 150 meters, the angle of elevation became 60 degrees. You need to find the height of the tower. So first of all, for finding out the height of the tower, I know this would be the right angle triangle, but I need one of the sides. So let's just try finding out the base of the original triangle or this new triangle. That does not matter. Okay. Now, what do I know? I know that tan theta is basically equal to the perpendicular side divided by the base. So using this concept, I can say that tan 60 Or let's talk about tan 30 first. Tan 30 is equal to x, that is the perpendicular side, divided by the base which I need to find. Okay. And then similarly, tan 60 is equal to x divided by the original base minus 150, because we know that the original base is this length, and when I will subtract 150 from it, I would get this length. So now I can equate both the x's and it would give me a new equation that is going to be tan 30 multiplied by the base, and it would be equal to tan 60 multiplied by base minus 150. Now base is the only unknown. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. Tan 60 is root 3. Again, guys, it's just the angle 30 and 60. So you can memorize these much values, obviously. And then it is base minus 150. Okay, now base is equal to root 3 multiplied by root 3 would give you 3 into base minus 450, and then 450 would be equal to 2 multiplied by the base. I'm obviously doing all these steps because I need to explain you everything, but in the exam you're not supposed to waste this much time, and you can do things directly as well. Okay, all right, so now we got 450 divided by 2. Okay, now 450 divided by 2 is going to give you 225. Now 225 is not there, like you can't find 225 in any option. So one thing is clear, it won't be A, it won't be D. Now you need to think about it logically. You need to think about it this way, that if you will multiply 75 with root 3, would that give you 225? Or when you will multiply 75 by root 2, would that give you 225, right? And only then you would be able to find the answer. But anyways, let's just discuss this thing once again, just so things become easier for us. Okay, so this was the question, and now you need to find the height. Okay, this 225 is turned out to be the base of the triangle, right? Obviously, this information is about the height of the tower, so at the moment we can't say much about it. This is wrong. I'm sorry about this. This thing turned out to be 225. Once you have this 225, now you have this angle 30, you have base, and now you can find the perpendicular side. So now I can again plug in values for this part, and this would directly give me the final answer. All right, okay. So let me just erase all of this. Okay, now tan 30 is equal to perpendicular. That is to be calculated, divided by the base, that is 225. Let me divide it down as 225. Okay. And now tan 30 is root 3, so it would be 225 divided by root 3 equals x. Okay. Now this x is basically going to give you your height. Okay, now again you will be doing all of this without your calculator. So for understanding such things, one thing is practice and the other thing is just being logical. Okay, now root 3 would be something more than 1.5, and it is going to be less than 2 and obviously more than 1. So through that, you know that since it is not 2, so it cannot be D and it cannot be A. Like option A and D are less than, like option A is at least less than the half of 225. So we know that root 3 would basically be more than that, right? Okay. So once you do 225 by root 3, you can just pick up a number. You know root 3 would be more than 1.5. This divided, it would give you a rough answer. Okay. And through that, you would know that this is going to give you C as your option. In case of any queries, any difficulties, please ask me right now. I know without calculator these things would be difficult, but you need to be logical with these questions. Okay. Since we know that option A and D cannot be the choices, now one might say, why can't we have B or C? You can just play with this number. It is 225 divided by root 3. I can multiply this with root 3 and root 3 just so I get rid of the root 3 in denominator, because you can clearly see that you do not have root 3 in all these options, and it would give you 225 divided by 3 multiplied by root 3, and this is 1 times and it would be 75 times. Okay, so that is why C is the answer, but I did not want to explain it this way because this would take more time, or it's completely your choice. I have seen a variety of students. Some students are comfortable with one method, some students are comfortable with another method. It's your choice. Either you can do such simplifications this way, or you can think about it logically, and I think this would be easier for you guys, because logically at times I do understand we are not able to do things correctly. Okay, all right, let's talk about one more question. It is the 12th question, and it says a chimney 20 meters high standing on top of a building subtends an angle whose tangent is 6 at a distance 70 meters from the foot of the building. Then the height of the building is okay. Now we have a building, and then there's a chimney on top of it, and this chimney is 20 meters high. A chimney 20 meters high standing on top of a building subtends an angle whose tangent is 6 at a distance 70 meters from the foot of the building. Okay, so this is your point of reference, and this is 70 meters, and subtends an angle from the foot of the building. So whatever the angle is, the tangent of that angle is basically 6. Okay, so if we say tangent is 6, you need to think about it this way, that let's say it is tangent theta. Tan is basically what? It is perpendicular over base. So you don't know the angle, but this value is going to be 6. This is what you know. Okay, now you need to find the height of the building. All right, so first of all, you need to find out the perpendicular side. So this is 6 multiplied by the base. This would give you the perpendicular side, and it would give you 420 meters. 420 meters is this entire perpendicular side. Okay, this is 20 meters. We are only interested in the height of the building and not the height of the chimney. So I will do 420 minus 20, and this is going to give me 400 meters. So now the answer is going to be A. Okay, I'll repeat this one last time because it is an important question. A chimney 20 meters high. This is your chimney. It is 20 meters high, standing on top of a building. This is your building. Subtends an angle whose tangent is 6. The angle is not given, but the value of tan theta is given, that is 6. At a distance 70 meters from the foot of the building, then what is the height of the building? So this angle is not given, but tan of this angle is 6. So tan theta is equal to perpendicular over base. Perpendicular side would be this entire side, and that turned out to be 40 meters. You're just supposed to find the height of the building. You need to subtract the height of the chimney, that is 20 meters, and the final answer is 400. So this is how we solve these questions logically. All right. So this is what we do in the 12th chapter. We need to use trigonometry in order to solve some real world problems or some you know problems, some of the stuff like that, but trigonometry is used there. In case of any queries, any difficulties, you can ask me right now, or you can use the link in description to get yourselves enrolled for our live classes.